Greetings, adventurers, travelers, and fellow keepers of the lake. How are you all doing? Welcome back to Plug and Play, a show in which we take little things that I designed or found on the internet, taverns, encounters, little bits and pieces that you can just take and put in your game without any prep, and hopefully that is exactly what the doctor prescribed for that nasty GM block. So with that out of the way, what do we have on the table today? Wow, I'm killing it with the rhymes. Well, we're continuing the story of the Lonely Burrow dungeon. Of course, this encounter doesn't have to be connected to that one, but this is just how I ran it. So, what is it? Basically, we left off with our players entering the tomb of the Lonely Warrior and finding a hallway leading to this strange staircase. They found themselves in this big hall, and they figured out there is a bunch of different staircases around. There were these huge crystals hanging from the ceilings, glowing in different colors, mostly like the statues from the last episode. And if you want to see that episode, I will put it somewhere in the description. I don't know why I'm showing it in the air. It's not like it's 2011. But they went down the stairs and found this huge grave. And as they turn around, they see that the staircases are made from human skulls. On the gravestone, they can read some passage about, I don't know. Here, I'm gonna do my best to translate this to English.
Here lies Orthax of the Legion of the Orthax, the founder of Tiberim. He lays here until he hears his name again.
And yes, I took the names right out of Crown and Skull Volume 2. I mean, such a cool lineage of dragons in that book. So my players went down the stairs, came to this huge tombstone, read it out loud, and the first thing they did was call, "Hortax, hear thy name, we're calling upon you again." And of course, the gravestone just started to shake and they fell into this room that is completely covered with moss and flowers. Vines are hanging from the ceilings, and there are these big flowers sporadically in the room. In the center of the room, there is this skeleton dragon laying on the floor. I have this one. It's not a skeleton, but it is a dragon, and it was just like sleeping, or it looked dead, basically. There's moss on him. A lot of vines are like intertwined with the bones, and this whole carcass looks almost like ingrown with plants. The story behind this encounter is that this dragon was supposed to be resurrected by a necromancer, or the necromancer tried it. You can see on the map here, this is where the ritual happened, and there are some bones from the necromancer. He never managed to do it because this flower killed him. More on that later. And there is a chest in which there is something wrapped in cloth. I don't have a dragon, but yeah, this will do. There we go. The dragon was really big, so this is kind of to scale. And as they approach the dragon, it starts to move a bit, almost as if the plants are animating him and moving him. So at this point, the dragon just pulls his head up and the eyes start to glow blue, and the encounter starts. Again, like with the previous encounter, I would say that this whole room has its own mechanics that are tied to the dragon, but can act on their own, and we're gonna describe the room first. First of all, there is some elevation here, so you can see like this part here. I don't know if you can see my laser pointer, but you can see the coloring. This is elevation, this is a bit more elevation. Then on this side, this is elevated, and then there is another layer to it here as well. What is also important is these vines are just representing that from the ceiling of the room, there are vines hanging down, and you can grab them at the grid square where they end. So if you're standing here, you can pretty much grab them, climb them, swing from them, and that is true for all these vines. So there's also these stones. They provide some cover. As we had in the previous encounter, you can put the room anywhere in your initiative track. You can put it at the beginning, at the end, in the middle, whatever. You can roll for it. Whatever works for your system. Every time the room plays, it can do one of two things, and both of those things are tied to these flowers. So if you're not sure, you can always roll a die, ask it, hey, does it do the thing 1 or 2? but basically it can either have the flowers open up and there is this vine that comes out and does a sweeping attack, and if it hits someone in the 10 feet radius, it will grapple the person and hold them in place. Or the second thing is there is some like poisonous miasma that starts to spread around the flower, also in the 10-foot radius. Anyone standing in that miasma will start to get persistent damage. You can even add multiple different things to these flowers, but I wanted to keep it really simple because the dragon is already quite a big threat. The dragon is being controlled by these vines, and as they figure this out, they can start to attack the vines directly and try to free the dragon. Every time I consider that they've done enough damage to the vines and to I don't know, whatever magic is holding the dragon together, I have a flat DC 12 roll, and when you collect the 5 rolls needed, well, the dragon is free and it just destroys the ceiling and flies away. But where the thing becomes interesting is if you feel that the encounter is not difficult enough, or you want to spice things up a bit, these flowers that were traps for the players up until now are now shooting vines at the dragon. They start to pull the dragon apart, they take its wings off, and the wings themselves become 2 additional enemies. Now, in Pathfinder, thankfully, attack of opportunity is not a thing until a certain level or for certain classes, so the dragon does not have any attacks of opportunity. But we have 2 wings, and I kind of made up their stat blocks. I took, I think, one of the attacks of the dragon, said that they can do only 2 actions, but they have attacks of opportunity. Now, these wings that are, intertwined with these vines pose a significant threat when it comes to positioning, especially with the elevation of everything. Where the treat is in this encounter, okay, we have the vines, so you can swing, and that is a pretty cool thing. You can climb and then drop onto the dragon, which is again pretty cool, and I used to allow when they drop onto the dragon and start attacking the vines from there, it's a bit easier to prompt the getting the dragon free roll. There is a chest in which there is something wrapped in cloth. Now this is an item, a gauntlet made of dragon scales that could help the players in this encounter. I'm kind of staging this to be collect all the Dragon Balls type of thing, but with armor pieces. As someone with the gauntlet points at the dragon, they can prompt this roll to happen much more easily. Yeah, at the end of the encounter, I would say that the dragon finds a way to claw its way out of the room. Maybe we can say as the dragon regains control, everything in the room starts to wither and die, like all the flowers and the moss on the walls and the ceilings, all the vines start to perish, and the dragon starts to dig, and the wings reassemble, start to levitate, all the bones, and they reassemble, and the dragon just flies away into the distance. Now, this was an interesting moment because my players actually followed the dragon out. This was the only way out they knew, and they saw its footprints. As they were looking at the footprints, they look up and they see the vista from on top of this hill, and the lake in the distance has the exact same shape as the dragon's footprint. I have no idea if there's a giant dragon somewhere or is this some ancient stuff, but it really creates, some questions. And as they stand on this hill, the gauntlet becomes alive and just forces the arm to point in the direction of that lake. Anyways, that's all from me for today. Hope you enjoyed, hope you're inspired, and with that, I bid you
farewell, keepers.